Did you know that Trump repeatedly said he wanted to pull the U.S. from NATO multiple times? This is an article from 2019. That's from CNBC. Guess who else? Guess who else wants to pull us from NATO? Cornel West. Isn't that amazing? Mm-hmm. When Cornel West and Donald Trump agree on something, isn't that amazing? Boy, his hair looks horrible there.
Not Joe Biden,
That is
though.
not a good angle for him.
That's not a good angle. Joe Biden does not want to take us out of NATO. U.S. President Donald Trump privately said several times last year that he wanted to withdraw his country from the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, the New York Times reported. The newspaper's findings, which cited unnamed senior administration officials, are likely to resurface worries of a breakdown in the military alliance that was created in 1949 by the United States, Canada, and some European nations. And what was that there for? NATO was there to stop the expansion of the Soviet Union. There is no longer a Soviet Union since 1992, so there is no purpose for NATO anymore. What NATO is now is an offensive organization that is surrounding its enemies, economic enemies, which is Russia and China, and that's all it is. It's offensive, and that's what the Ukraine war is happening. It's because of NATO's provocation, not because of Putin and Russia. Those concerns were first sparked last year when the U.S. leader hinted that he could leave the 29-member defensive bloc without congressional approval. At the time, Trump was pushing member countries to increase spending.
I've been very, very direct with Secretary Stoltenberg and members of the alliance in saying that NATO members must finally contribute their fair share and meet their financial obligations. But 23 of the 28 member nations are still not paying what they should be paying and what they are supposed to be paying for their defense. This is not fair to the people and taxpayers of the United States. And many of these nations owe massive amounts of money from past years and not paying in those past years. Over the last 8 years, the United States spent more on defense than all other NATO countries.
So,
wow, I had no idea.
Oh, you didn't? Oof.
So,
I'm an idiot.
What?
No.
When I look at that video, what I see is Trump actually wants to increase spending in NATO and more weapons. That's what I see when I see that video, actually, because he backtracked on that. Since then, however, the Republican has backtracked on that threat. Responding to the New York Times report, a White House official repeated some of Trump's remarks from July when the president said Washington's commitment to NATO is very strong and the alliance is very important. As the Times notes, a weakened NATO is thought to be a major geopolitical goal of Russian Trump's dislike for participation in international organizations is well known to global leaders by now. Early in his White House tenure, the president withdrew the U.S. from the Paris Climate Accord and a massive Pacific Trade Pact. So I would like to hear what Trump thinks now. I bet he would. What do you think?
I don't know where he stands. I didn't like the backtracking, but the fact that he did say it, and this is that one reason I would say, if there's one reason and why Trump is better than Biden, it's this right here. He put that rhetoric out there that NATO should no longer exist, that we shouldn't spend money on it, we should get rid of it. So I don't know where he does stand, because we do see sometimes he does tend to kind of fold to the ruling class and the elites. But I mean, we still have Iran where he refused to bomb. Or,
he paused a shipment of arms to Nazis in Ukraine, which they impeached him for.
Yeah.
Any comment on this, Chrissy?
It definitely looks like he's flip-flopping on this, and I just don't know why he would do that. I guess, right, if he does cave to sort of the authorities occasionally, maybe he just got called orange too many times that week.
It's the most powerful people in the world, I think, that have pressured him to go back on those stances.
Wow.
So
he was less of an interventionist, definitely, than Joe Biden. That's for sure. So Trump was that's the weird thing about Trump, is he was less of an interventionist, right? I wouldn't go so far as to say that makes him better than Joe Biden, but it certainly makes him less of an interventionist on foreign policy. So I agree with Cornel West. I think Cornel West has a great message when it comes to NATO. We don't need NATO. NATO is an offensive organization. There is no threat from the Soviet Union because there's no Soviet Union anymore. And now what it is a military alliance that is trying to control shipping lanes and energy transfers. That's what NATO is all about. That's why NATO blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. Okay.
So they're like mobsters.
They're like, exactly, NATO, we're the gangsters.
Yeah.
NATO is the mobster. We're the gangster. Putin isn't the gangster. China is not the gangster. It is the United States is the world's terrorists. NATO is the world's terrorists by far. The kill list, the kill numbers that the United States has, you can't even compare. Hey, so come see us live on tour. We're going to be in Detroit. That's Rochester, Michigan, Tampa, Boca Raton, Orlando, Dallas, Houston, San Diego, Bloomington, Illinois, where I went to college, Indianapolis, Levittown, New York, and Red Bank, New Jersey. Go to jimmydore.com for a list of all those shows.